In this tutorial, I'm going to use a deformer sign bend to make the arm appear to be like a wavy kind of a snake. So I'm going to select my geometry. I'll hold down the space bar and I'm going to go to deform and I'm going to go to nonlinear and I'm going to choose sign. And I want this green line or this sign tool to be the orientation of my arm, so I'll hit E on the keyboard and I'll rotate it down to the angle that my arm is at. Now, if I would hit T on the keyboard, it gives me the transform tool for that sign deformer. And if I click on the middle diamond shape and I pull down and up, I get this kind of a wiggly shape. Now this can be animated as well. So I'm going to set my playback at the beginning of my timeline. And I'm going to go to the channel box. And in the channel box with the sign bend deformer selected, I'll click on sign inputs. And if I were to move that again, I can see that the amplitude is where I need to keyframe this. So I'll start by right-clicking on the word amplitude, choose key selected. I'll go to another point in time on my timeline. I'll move it in another direction and it automatically drops that keyframe. And if I wanted to cycle this, I could shift and drag through the original keyframe at frame 1, choose copy, go to the appropriate frame, in this case 60, and choose paste, paste. Now if I want this to cycle continually throughout the duration of an animation that might be a few hundred frames long, I would go to the graph editor, and in the graph editor I'm going to marquee select all the keyframes and the curve, and then I'll go to curves, post infinity, and cycle. So now if I drag through my timeline, it continues throughout the duration of my animation. Now if I was going to move this, say with my model, or if I wanted to rotate it at its shoulder point, I would hit W on the keyboard with the sign tool selected. I'm going to shift select the geometry and I'll hit P to parent. And what that means now that if I were to move this arm, the sign bend deformer moves with it as well. One other thing you want to be aware of, if you ever need to access that sign, you'll see that it's not selected. You can't see it visually sometimes in your viewport. You'll need to use your outliner for that. So if I were to go to Window and choose Outliner, and I go to the group, which is the arm, the parented arm, and the sign bender, and click on the checkbox with the plus sign that precedes it, there is the sign handle tool. I could hit T on the keyboard. I could further edit that if I chose. And that's pretty much all you need to know to use that sign editor to get a bit of a wavy action on your model's arm. The other thing you'll notice is that there are these little tabs, and you can restrict the area that you may want this to affect by just playing with those little blue diamond shapes. So these are some things that you would play with though. Now I'm going to replicate the arm with the sign bend tool on it. I'll hold down the space bar, I'll go to Edit, Duplicate Special, to the Attributes, and then Duplicate Special Options. I'll choose Instance, and I'll leave the number count 1. I'll hit Apply. Now if I move that out, I've got a second arm. And if you look closely, you can see that it's also duplicated the sign for us. So now I can drag through the timeline and both arms are doing the same thing.